Welcome to the Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. The only show dedicated to helping parents maximize their kids' experiences and for kids to reap the fun. Here are your hosts, the Bodacious family, Adam, Anthony, and Zachary.
Oh, jeez. God, here I was going to say, without Zachary, we're going to have a calmer day. Welcome back to Bodaciously Awesome Family Show. I am your host, Adam.
Hey, Zachary.
And there is no Zachary. Zachary, we have a quieter night. Both Zachary and Mommy have the night off. It's just us.
This is how it started, you know.
It's the originals.
The double A's.
The double A's, that's right. We are back and better than ever, as some might say.
Some might say that.
Yeah. The other two who are not here probably would not say that.
Probably not.
No.
Because they're not very polite.
No, but they're not here today. They have the night off. They're doing whatever it is that they do without us, which I don't know what it is. Like, what are they doing without us?
I think Zach's like wrestling a pillow or something.
Actually, I think he is. If you hear a loud bump upstairs or something, like it's like a little. That'll be him.
That's him jumping on a pillow.
Indeed. So, Anthony, before we kick off here, where can people find us on the interwebs?
Everywhere.
You know what? That's even more correct than usual, as we have now launched on the premier podcast streaming platform in France and India.
All right.
So not only can you find us on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play and Pandora and iHeartRadio and Spotify and Overcast and Podbean and Podchaser and everything else in the U.S. based, but now also Deezer and I can't remember what the one from the French one is, but we're everywhere.
Deezer's not the French one?
I think
that just sounds French.
I think Deezer's the Indian one, the India one.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we're everywhere. So almost worldwide.
We'll get there.
I mean, we're worldwide web-wide.
Worldwide web-wide?
Worldwide web-wide.
Worldwide web-wide?
You also can find us on YouTube. We actually put these episodes on YouTube as well as the Kid Gamer channel.
Kid Gamer!
Oh, we have Zachary is
Kid
here.
Gamer!
He heard his name, his call sign, and he just had to jump on down.
I've been waiting there for 2 minutes for you guys to say that.
I'm sure you were right outside the door of the podcast studio.
Yeah, you could have looked.
AKA my room.
Yeah, it's where we're here today. So, Kid Gamer, yeah. So on the YouTube channel, y'all are putting up new videos almost every day, and now you're doing some streams direct from the PlayStation through Twitch. So you also can find us on Twitch now. So I'm telling you, we are exploding in a good way.
Exploding on the interwebs.
We are exploding in only the way you can explode.
And still be alive.
Like dynamite.
Exactly.
Oh!
So, all right. Now, Zachary, this is probably not an episode you're going to have a lot of content, but welcome to have you. And anything you want to add in. Anthony, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about Alfred Hitchcock's greatest films.
We are.
That I've seen.
Yes, right. With the 4 that you have seen.
All 4? That's a lot.
It
is. Hitchcock, man.
Out of the 95 he has or whatever.
He has quite a few, and actually we aren't even talking about some of his most popular movies. So Alfred Hitchcock is a classic film director, and so during these quarantine times here and in internal COVID times, I took it upon myself to enhance your cinematic education, and we started to watch, among other things, some Hitchcock movies. And because he's amazing, he's called the master for a reason, and easily one of the top, 2 directors to ever live.
Oh, yeah, no question.
And yeah, so we started watching some Hitchcock films, and we want to kind of get some ideas. We'll try not to spoil them, but they're all like 1,000 years old, so if they're spoilers to you, you should just go watch them anyway.
Exactly. It's your fault for not watching them.
Although, we will not spoil Vertigo.
No, yeah, you can't spoil that one. That's just not fair.
Exactly. So Anthony, first of all, what 4 movies have you seen? You put them in any order right now, your viewing order, but we'll get into the ones you found the best and then also the most entertaining, because those are actually different, as I recall.
No.
Oh, no?
Not for me.
Oh, I thought they were. So just give me the 4 in any order that we'll be talking about here today.
Okay, so the first one I saw, Dial M at the Tampa Theater.
Dial M for Murder.
Yeah. And then Rear Window, then Vertigo, then Rope most recently.
That is correct. So, which is also kind of cool. Most people, I believe, that are listening to this would have heard definitely of Vertigo and Rear Window. Those are what you'd call famous Hitchcock movies. Even still today, in terms of their popularity. Obviously with Psycho and The Birds, let's say.
Those are some of the other ones we're watching, though.
Those will be the next
batch.
Yes, that'll be the next set. But Hitchcock, I mean, kind of like Spielberg, has just had so many films, and so many are great, that even when you get to like the next batch, right? Like you have people like list their favorite Hitchcock movies. Dial M is usually on that one, and Dial M is great. I really love it. And Rope is kind of the one that people have never even heard of for some reason. Like, I haven't heard of it. Like, yeah, it gets no critical acclaim, but yet Rope, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so that's probably my third or fourth time seeing it now, and every time I find it absolutely engaging and amazing.
For it being an hour 20 minutes really, of people talking in a room, it is incredibly engaging.
All it is people talking in a room, very suspenseful. What's great about Rope also, I think I told you this while you were watching, so you got to notice it. It's kind of like that movie 1917 from last year. It all looks as if it's done in one take. It's not, but it looks like it is, and
they're
really
very
cool.
long takes, because you can kind of tell when it cuts out. At least I can, like some of them. And I only saw cuts like 3 times.
Yeah, there are some pretty obvious ones where they zoom in on a wall or something, or someone's back, and then they pan back out. So you know that's probably where a cut happened. But yeah, you're like, okay, but yeah, even then, that happens like 4 or 5 times. Those are like 20-minute takes.
Right, exactly.
So, but yeah. So, all right, let's go with the what you saw. So tell me something about Dial M.
Dial M is the one I remember the least, so I think I should probably have to revisit that one.
We saw about a year ago. That was actually, we actually saw that in a theater before everything started shutting down. That was sometime in 2019.
Yeah, but I really liked Dial M because, again, it's kind of like Rope, where it really doesn't leave that one room, and it's basically just 2 or 3 people talking about like how he would do it and stuff, and I thought that one was very cool the way it was done.
So like all Robert Hitchcock movies are them talking in a room for an hour and something minutes?
No, not all. But in this case, I see why you would ask that, Zach. No, so Alfred Hitchcock, as a director, was called the Master of Suspense, and he made very suspenseful movies that you were like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And he had a famous quote once where he was talking about, someone asked him how he makes movies so suspenseful, and he said, if I show you a bomb exploding, that's kind of, one time you get, ooh, right? You like, that was kind of cool. You saw a bomb explode, right? There's an explosion, some fire, loud noise, and your heart might race for a bit. He goes, but that's not building suspense. That's nothing. He's like, but if I show you a bomb and a timer about when it's going to go off, and then I keep showing you the bomb and the timer, and I keep showing the people in the room, and it keeps bouncing around, the suspense builds because you want to know if those people can get out and what will be impacted. And that's what he did. He wasn't about the explosion. He was about the build up to the explosion.
Oh.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So one thing I told you, Anthony, I thought was interesting. I've seen all these movies before. And in the revisiting of these 4 specifically in this cycle, I found Dial M to be the most enjoyable. Like it's the most accessible. Like everything comes together. It is still incredibly suspenseful. It's still, the plot makes absolute sense. It's still tight. It's the most it doesn't lose, like the other 3 lose a little bit from aging, right? They don't quite, there's different pacing.
Yeah, sure.
Dial M, I though think you could release Dial M, like use the same shooting script right now and not have many changes.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. It's a little slow, but
at times, it just all gets put together well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd say it's probably my second or third.
So which one was your favorite?
Rear Window.
Okay, so Rear Window, give us a little flavor. What was Rear Window about?
Stalker guy.
And what does Stalker Guy do besides stalk? Stalker Guy, stalk.
Yeah, he watches people out of his window because he broke his legs and he's in a wheelchair or whatever. And he thinks he sees a murder, but he's not sure. And yeah.
Can I watch it?
Probably not. I don't know.
I'd say sure. I mean, you'd find it very slow, though.
Also,
Mom fell asleep.
You wouldn't like it, but
I want to watch it because, like, I remember Dad or someone watched the trailer and it looked pretty interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because the problem with a lot of his movies, since they're so old, they're very slow. So that's why even Anthony, I have him watching it when he's much older, because you can kind of have more of a patience for slow moving things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Rear Window is cool, and you start watching it, and yeah, does he see a murder? Does he not? And how he can investigate it, right? And he's trying to take pictures. He's a photographer, and he uses his friend to help.
When can I watch it?
I'd say 13's a good age, not because you can't see it now, but I don't think you appreciate it.
Yeah, you would not.
But can I just watch it now?
You could.
Yes.
Okay. But I don't think you'd appreciate it. Okay. We'll get to it then. Maybe in the next cycle then, maybe you can do, we're talking about like the next ones being either To Catch a Thief or Saboteur. Maybe you can watch one of those with us.
But I want to watch Rear Window.
Well, we don't have it anymore if we get back for Aunt Jeremy.
Oh.
Aunt Shammy, our portable library of Hitchcock movies.
That's right. She has a couple, so we were borrowing them. So what made Rear Window so engaging to you?
Well, I really think that was the one that I thought was the most suspenseful. Like when the murderer finally finds him and he's like using the camera. I thought that part was so just well done and suspenseful. So
it is great, and it's funny because so many of his movies are considered so great. And like which ones are the best or whatever, it's hard to actually say because there is some personal preference about what you found suspenseful versus now.
Yeah.
And like I would have told you before this cycle that Vertigo was my favorite of these movies. My favorite Hitchcock is North by Northwest, which we'll get to in the next cycle. But of these, like I always loved Vertigo. Like it's great, partially because of what I don't want to spoil, right? Like,
the twist is so perfect.
Yeah, because it's so out of the blue, and
yeah, it's up there with greatest movie twists of all time.
Yeah, well, and I was even looking at a list the other day of like top 10 movies being voted on by filmmakers and Vertigo of all time, and Vertigo is on that list.
Oh, that's not shocking at all. Yeah,
but it's definitely a little slow now, and until you get like I remember watching it and really liking it, and then you get to that point and you're like, wait, what? And then the rest of the movie's like a blur of like, wait, what's going on now? And then you're like, wait, and then you get the ending, you're like, wait, it all happened.
And the ending's horrible, and I hate it.
Well, okay, but I still think you're misreading you mean like literally the end, the last like 30 seconds, and I think that you misread it. I think it wraps up very quickly. Like it's like, yeah, and then we're done.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah, so I don't think your interpretation of the ending is correct, but I do understand why it hurts the movie in your eyes, given the way you see it.
Yes, I think they could have taken a little more time to wrap it up, because they were like, oh, and we're out of time, folks. Yeah. Like in the middle of a sentence. Yeah,
kind of. This would be like, if like Endgame just ended, they're like, and it's like, Avengers assemble, and Thanos is dead, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right. So after Rear Window, what was your next favorite?
Probably. I'm trying to decide between Vertigo and Rope. I'd probably say Rope, then Vertigo. No. Yes, maybe.
It's hard to say, right?
Yeah, I know. I'd say okay. Rear Window, Rope, Vertigo, Dial M.
Okay, and you want to see Rear Window?
Yeah.
So given what Anthony's been saying about these other ones, do you want to see any of the other ones yet, or are you just sticking to Rear Window?
Rear Window.
Okay, great.
It sounds like really cool because I like mysteries.
Well, they're all kind of a mystery.
And I'm always like shaking. I'm like, when is it gonna happen? Just tell me.
You will feel that way for literally an hour.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the entire time you're like, is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now? You are always waiting for whatever it's going to happen. And again, you're always waiting for the explosion.
You know how I'm like always like jumping up and down when something happens, and I'm like,
you're literally right now.
And nothing's happened.
Yeah, nothing's happened right now. So, all right, so you went Vertigo. I'm sorry, you went Rear Window, Rope, Vertigo, Dial M.
That is a correct statement.
So I got to tell you that. Had we had this conversation weeks ago, before we rewatched everything, I would have told you my order was Vertigo, Rope, Rear Window, Dial M. And now I would say yes, exactly.
Why do you guys not like Dial M? Apparently it's on both of your bottom lists.
No, it's great. It's just, movies.
No question, it's fantastic.
But I'd actually, after rewatching them all, I was actually going to say that I would actually elevate Dial M. It was actually my favorite. Like, I enjoyed it the most. It's not I wouldn't call it the best, right? I would still put it, honestly, third below Vertigo and Rear Window.
Because those are both just...
They're masterpieces.
Right, yeah.
Rope is great, but it's a stage play, as is Dial M. And it's hard to kind of get the scope of the other two. Even actually, oddly, Rear Window's scope is the fact that it's so confined, but that's besides the point.
And all of these movies are 4.5 to 5 stars.
Yeah, they're all. Well, we'll get to each one in a second here. Don't you jump the gun here, Sparky.
Okay.
So, Anthony, as we now look forward to our next set, we'll do another series on this, later in the podcast series. But what are we've talked about what the next 4 might be. What do you think they will become?
My personal preference for the ones I want to see: North by Northwest, Psycho, Birds, I Confess.
Yeah, so I gotta find I Confess. That's kind of like one of those
Hidden gems.
Yeah, it's like Rope. It's like one of the ones that people just haven't heard of. Like I would say Rope, I Confess, Lifeboat are all those movies that you're like, I don't think I've heard of those. So then you might see them again. But I Confess, I remember growing up and going to Catholic high school, and we had to watch it. And we actually watched it in religion class because we were talking about like how a priest can't say anything that happens in confession. And that movie's about someone commits a murder and then goes into the confessional and says, "Hey, I killed this guy." And it's about how that investigation then starts to unravel, and how if the priest can keep that vow and still his own vows of
that one sounds mind blowing.
Yeah, that was really good. So I think those are good choices. What's interesting though to me is that, and I have this problem sometimes, that things that are really, really popular and they're part of my favorite set or whatever, I like the popular things a little bit less.
I've noticed that. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why. It's a character deficiency.
I don't know, because he feels like they're overhyped in some way.
Yeah. Now, oddly, not with Spielberg, because my favorite Spielberg movie is E.T. But E.T. or Jaws or Close Encounters or Raiders, or it doesn't matter, right? So
there's so many Spielberg movies you could say it's your favorite. So.
Right. But
my favorite's Raiders, not E.T.
I know it, and it's a great choice. But I'm saying, but back to for the Hitchcock side, Psycho is considered like his main masterpiece. And now, granted, I've only seen it once, and it was 30 years ago or so. But I didn't really love it, so I gotta watch it again.
Yeah.
Dad, I changed my order for my favorite movies. I rewatched Jurassic Park at my friend's sleepover, and now I like it more.
It's a great movie, good choice. So that's now number one.
Yeah.
Solid. Yeah,
Raiders 2, World Free. And some other stuff.
Well, we'll definitely do. We can do watch some more Spielberg movies and then do a Spielberg list too.
Ooh.
Yeah. So Psycho, not one of my favorites, and neither is The Birds. Now, North by Northwest is my favorite Hitchcock. And I told you I do love I Confess. Again, hadn't seen it since high school, but
yeah,
I'm assuming I'm still.
Well, I mean, and obviously I trust what you say, but when everybody else, like pretty much on the planet Earth, says Psycho is fantastic, I might listen to, everybody else on the entire Earth a little bit more. That's
fair. And it also helps that Psycho is groundbreaking in what it was at the time. And so I would never put anything past that. So there is that. That's an added element to it. I mean, again, we were talking about, other movies you wanted to watch at Halloween or whatever, and, no other, slasher movie exists without Psycho.
Yeah, right.
But we'll get there.
Right.
We'll get there.
And same thing with Birds, too.
So we'll get there, too. So I think those are good next four. So, all right. On a scale of 0 to 5, so you have an absolute waste of approximately 2 hours of your life, 5 being medical satisfaction, using only whole and half numbers, rate Dial M for Murder.
4.5.
It's a solid choice. You are correct. Okay, number 2, rate Rear Window.
5.
It's a solid choice. I would probably go 4.5. I think you're not wrong. All right, Vertigo.
4.5.
Okay, you're wrong there. It's 5. And then finally, Rope.
5.
See, I think I'd go say 4.5. But again, they're all of those could be 5. They all be 4.5. That's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
They're all so good. And there are some, even Psycho, but still 4.5, right? Even though I don't like a big fan. There are some that you're like, okay, he just missed, mostly towards the end of his career,
sure.
Or really, really early on. But for the most part, you'll find that all of them hit that kind of, hey, look, this is amazing.
Hey, look, this is perfect.
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right. Well, Anthony, is there any others that you're looking forward to that you've heard about after Cycle 2? Not Psycho 2. That was not done by Hitchcock, and it's not very good. But our second cycle of Hitchcock films.
You say Lifeboat's really good, so that one's kind of interesting to me, but that's about it.
I don't really remember it. I just remember it's all about 4 people or 6 people on a lifeboat, so I just kind of remember being interesting. Then there's something like The Trouble with Harry, which is about a dead body that keeps moving. Saboteur, I believe, takes place. The end of the Saboteur takes place on top of the Statue of Liberty, if I remember correctly. Is that what it has a kind of there's a very iconic ending to North by Northwest as well. So those kind of harken back to each other a little bit.
Cool.
All right. Well, we'll start getting the next batch ready. Probably start spinning some of these up here in the next few weeks, and then kind of keep going forward with our cinematic educational series.
Awesome.
So, if you were to recommend one of them to the podcast listeners here, which one would you say go watch right now?
Rear Window.
Okay, and I'd probably say go watch Dial M, because I think that was the most accessible one. Or Rope.
Sure, yeah.
All right, well then, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
No, but he
Well,
left.
Zachary left, right? He just walked out. Like, we're right at the random thought of the day, and he has left. Zachary's random thought of the day is
not.
bye.
Is bye.
It's just like,
Wow, wow,
oh,
wow.
nice. Supposed to get to good, bad, and deadly then. All right. Hey, everybody, don't just be awesome.
Wait, bodaciously off, that was it.
And we're going to see you all next week. We'll talk to you all later. Bye. Watch Rope.